I've gone ahead and created a new empty show file. So let's go ahead and start programming some cues. So first thing I'm going to need is a cue. To do this, I can right-click the empty space and add a cue. This opens up our cue editor window, and this has all the parameters for our cue that we could change. First up is the cue number. This can be any whole number or decimal number that we like. Since this is our first cue, I'm going to go ahead and leave this as cue number 1. Next up is cue name. I'm going to call this our preset look. Then we can pick a cue color. For me, I'm going to go ahead and leave this as the default color for now. And then lastly, we can add cue notes. So this can be anything like what's going to happen, or if there's any special requirements or things we need to do. Really anything that'll help us when we're running the show. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and just give it a little description. And then we can go ahead and save our changes. Now we want to go ahead and add our motors to this cue. So to do that, we go ahead, we select push stick V2, and then I click, drag, and drop, and I'm going to add this to playback 1. Then I can click my movement, and this opens up the movement with all of its parameters for me to edit. So first up is target, and since we're moving to our preset look, I'm going to go ahead and send this to 10. I'm going to go ahead and change our speed to 2. We don't need it going very fast. The A cell to 1 and the D cell to 1 as well. Now let's do the same thing for our spot line. So I'm going to click, drag, and drop it onto playback 1. I'm going to select it, and now I'm going to change its target position to our preset look, which is 10, nice and slow, speed of 2, an A cell of 1, and a D cell of 1. And then save our changes. Another way I can add a cue is I can use the keyboard shortcut. I can do Control U, and this will add a new cue. And now let's make our motors do something a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to grab push stick V2 first. I'm going to drag and drop that onto playback 1. I'm going to select it. And now let's run to its center, which is 240 for me. We're going pretty far, so we'll go ahead and go fast, 36. We use 36 for the A cell to get it moving quickly, but then we want it to have a nice smooth stop, so we'll go ahead and use 18 for our deceleration. So we can save those changes. Now let's do a similar thing for spotline. I'm going to grab that, drag it, and drop it, and this time I'm going to drop it onto playback 2. I'm going to click it to select it. I'm going to run to 50 inches. I'm going to go 24 inches a second, 24 for the A cell, again, start nice and fast, and 12 for the D cell to have a nice smooth stop. And then the third way to create a cue is to grab our motor, drag it where we want it. So I want to add Q3, which will happen after Q2. So if I drop it in the area after Q2, that'll go ahead and create cue number 3 for me. Let's run to 100 inches. We'll go 24 inches a second, 24 for the A cell, and 12 for the D cell. We can go ahead and save that. And if I hit escape, that'll close our window. Let's do a similar thing for our spot line. I'm gonna grab that, drag it, drop it. I'm gonna go with playback 2. And I really liked what we're doing with our push stick. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna right click, copy, and right click and paste those parameters. So now they're doing the same thing. So up until this point, we've been using engineering units to program our cues. These units are things like our inches per second for our speed and our inches per second for our acceleration and deceleration. But we can also program in time units. To show this off, let's create a new cue. I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut Control U. Then I'm going to grab my push stick and drop it onto playback 1. I'm going to select that. Then up here at the top, you can see we have speed and time. If we click time, this will dump us over into our time units. So let's set a new position. Let's go to 200 inches. Let's have this take 7 seconds. for our total time. Let's have it accelerate for 1.5 seconds. And let's have it decelerate for 2.5 seconds. Then I'll go ahead and save my changes, and we can see the values have been updated. Let's also do this with the spotline. So I'm going to grab that and drop it onto playback 1 as well. I'm going to select that. I'm going to switch into time. Let's have this go to 50 inches. Let's have it take 6 seconds with a 1 second accel time and a 2 second decel time. Go ahead and I can save my changes, and we can see they've also been updated there. Besides just changing the times for our individual movements, sometimes we might want the entire step to complete at the same time. Even if things are going to different positions, we still want everything to all end at the same time. And we can do this too. To show this off, I'm going to create a new queue. This time I'm going to use the duplicate queue method. So I'm going to right click on my Q4 and I'm going to click duplicate queue. This will create a new queue with the same movements going to the same places. So first up, since we're already at those positions, I'm going to change them real quick. So for our push stick, let's go 100 inches backwards. So I can do -100, and I can save my changes. And for the spotline, let's also do let's go back 50 inches. So I'll do -50 and save those changes. Now we can see, if we look over here in our movement sentences, that the push stick is going to take 7 seconds and the spotline is going to only take 6 seconds. And we can see our total step time is also 7 seconds, because that's our slowest one. If I click the step time, this will give me the opportunity to make them all match. So right now, because they're all different, it shows that it varies. So let's have this whole thing take 8 seconds. And let's have the accel ramp be 2 seconds and the decel ramp also be 2 seconds. And when I save those changes, we can see that our times have changed and the actual speed values have changed to match. Going along with adding is deleting, and it's just as simple to do that. Let's take a look. We can delete an entire queue by right-clicking on the queue and clicking delete. We can do the same thing with individual movements. We can right-click and delete. We can grab it and drag it to the trash can to delete. If we have our movement editor open, we also have a delete button. And we can also drag an entire queue to delete.